Here on Channel 4 now, SuperScrimpers.
I want a coat, I want a hat, a piece of this, a yard of that, a pair of shoes, a bag, a belt, something in lace or tweed or felt, a bit of what-you-call-it stuff in blue or beige or brown or buff. The day wears on, the feet wear out. There's little left to fight about. You know, my dear, it's simply tragic. Everything good has gone like magic. Those wretched people scoffed a lot. Or nearly. Hey, what's that he's got?
55 years on, and as we're forced to tighten our belts and eBay the designer ones, we're all on the lookout for a bargain. And making sure we don't pay over the odds, tonight, Mrs. Moneypenny is down with the kids to teach us all a lesson in savvy saving when it comes to childcare.
To raise a child from birth to 21 costs a whopping £218,000.
Consumer crusader and Mrs. M's second-in-command, Harry Wallop, is in Leeds, where he discovers that with some broadband connections, it's a case of more haste and less speed.
You were sold up to 20 megs.
Yes, that's correct.
And you're getting 1.32.
Yeah. That's as good as it will get.
Speed is of the essence as Harry Wallop discovers a painfully slow broadband connection.
I'm on hold. They're going to be as fast as they can, which, if it's as fast as their broadband, may be some time.
Alongside Mrs. M, fighting our consumer corner and making sure we're not getting ripped off, is Daily Telegraph journalist Harry Wallop. This week, Harry's driving a hard bargain to raise the speed limit of a broadband connection that is seriously underperforming.
1 in 10 postcodes and the people who live in them suffer from poor broadband speeds.
At an average of 3 megabytes per second, those unlucky people are receiving less than half the national average of 7.6. That kind of speed, or lack of it, would mean an HD movie would take 7 hours to download. But some of us are still paying the price for speeds that come in much slower than advertised. Teacher Melanie Coyle mainly uses the internet to plan her lessons and access learning materials, but finds this extremely difficult with her current broadband speed.
What did Sky advertise the broadband speed as?
They advertised it as an up to 20 megabyte package.
Right, with a little asterisk and some footnotes?
Yes, that said location may make this vary.
Now, after you signed up, what then happened?
We received a letter which said that they expected us to receive somewhere in the region of 6 megabytes.
But it wasn't?
No, nowhere near. I'm getting 1.2, 1.3 on a good day.
And on a bad day?
On a bad day, it can be below 1.
This poor service is all the more surprising as Melanie lives on a new estate, just a few miles from the centre of Leeds.
Broadband really is the 4th utility now, and it ought to be considered in that way.
Leeds is the 9th worst urban area in the country for broadband speeds of under 2 megabytes per second, with 14.1% of lines affected. But at least it's not Milton Keynes, where almost 30% of the population can expect the same painfully slow connection. Harry's revving up to find out just how Melanie's neighbours are faring in the speed stakes.
Can I ask you how fast your broadband is?
The fastest I've ever got is 0.5.
Who's your provider?
That's BT.
Are you happy with your broadband?
Not quite, just very slow.
And who's your company?
Talk.
With it being a new estate as well, you would think we'd have super fast broadband.
And who's your provider?
Virgin.
Melanie's paying around £55 a month for a Sky bundle that includes broadband.
We contacted Sky and said, we'd like to move on to a lower package, so we'll be paying less. And they said outright no.
Because?
The tiers are based on how much you use it, not on what speed you're getting.
And presumably you might actually be on the internet slightly less if you had a faster speed.
Quite possibly, quite possibly.
But while Sky provides the package, the infrastructure is down to BT, who laid the cabling in the first place.
We're connected to an exchange which is 7 kilometres away, and on the copper cabling that we're on at the moment, the further the distance, the worse the signal will degrade. I wonder if Sky didn't know that it was going to be so bad, but then one has to ask why they didn't know.
You can test your broadband speed on sites like broadbandspeedchecker.com or thinkbroadband.com.
Oh, here we go.
There we
Right,
go.
so there's the result. It's 1.32.
Yes.
Which for you is...
It's a good day, higher than average.
But you paid for up to 20 megs.
Yes, that's correct.
Now, you're a teacher, so you can tell me what is 1.32 as a percentage of 20?
Somewhere between 6 and 7%, I think. That's as good as it will get.
Well, that's a big fail in anybody's book. So Harry's going to contact Melanie's provider to see if they can get her up to speed.
I'm on hold. They're going to be as fast as they can. Which, if it's as fast as their broadband, maybe some time. Yes, hello. My name's Harry Wallop. I'm calling from a Channel 4 programme called SuperScrimpers. Great, and is there a number as well, just in case? Brilliant. OK, thanks very much indeed. Much appreciated. Right. Well, that was the Sky press office, and they sounded very helpful, and so they wanted to apologise for any problems she had, and they would see about whether we could come in and have a chat to them about this whole issue.
4 weeks later, and Harry has good news for Melanie.
Melanie, hello.
Harry.
Really good to see
Nice
you
to see you
again.
again.
Sky have got in touch with us, and they say, as her property was a new build, the incomplete industry data at that time led us to overestimate the speeds achievable.
There has been building on that development since 2004.
Well, they continue. We've worked with Mrs. Coyle to resolve the speed issues, including sending a BT engineer to her home at our cost. Mrs. Coyle's broadband speed remains low due to the length of phone lines in her area. Sky make the point that it wouldn't really matter who you were with, you would always have a fairly slow broadband speed because the provider can't really alter the fact that you are very far away from the exchange. Sky have offered you a gesture of goodwill. We've offered Mrs. Coyle a gesture of goodwill in recognition of her experience.
Well, it goes some way, but no, it's not enough, really.
They're not accepting any liability for these slow broadband speeds. If they're not, who should?
The people who provide the cabling, which is BT Openreach.
Which brings us on to BT. Any company that provided copper wires between the exchange and your home would also suffer from, or not be able to provide, fast broadband speeds. They say they're investing £2.5 billion to make fibre broadband available to 2/3 of the UK homes and businesses by the end of 2014. However, at the end of their current fibre rollout programme, in December 14, BT plans to review areas where the fibre hasn't been deployed. You presumably would like the fibre to be deployed as soon as possible.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm sure my neighbours would agree.
Melanie gets a gesture of goodwill from Sky and an acknowledgement from both Sky and BT that there is a problem in that area with slow broadband speeds. But as Melanie acknowledges, in the long term, that problem hasn't been fully sorted out. But BT have promised that in 2014 they will look at the issue.